Welcome, and good morning. We are here at Dualitea Podcast, and I have a special guest, Naps, with us.
It's me.
Thank you so much for coming and for wanting to be a part of the podcast. And just always looking forward to whenever we have conversations in general. So I'm just happy to have you here for other people to hear.
Yay! No, I'm hyped to be here. It's super cozy. I feel like I was talking about how cozy it was for like 15 minutes in different ways.
It's good. It's good to be cozy. I feel like it's important, especially when the world is filled with like a lot of discomfort, and then you're having that position where it's like we're having conversations and we're letting the world into our conversation, right? So it's like hopefully it's cozy.
This is pretty wild. Yeah, I know. I'm like, it's me. How do I not look at me?
It's okay. You look at you. You look at me here.
I like it. This is bomb, by the way.
Thank you. Shout out to CG Candles for gifting me this beautiful Revive blend. You know, I'm looking forward. I'm going to have my first sip, and shout out to your beautiful candles. My favorite is Sweet Earth. So just putting that plug in. If you're local, if you're not, she has an online website, CG Candle. Check her out. This is lovely. Yeah.
That was such an elegant plug.
Cheers.
Cheers to that.
Cheers to connections and, sharing medicines. I think it's really beautiful, especially like, kind of what we were talking about before is like, I could be very selective when I choose to ingest things from human beings, right? I make teas and stuff like that. I always have. I don't really like, I'm working on, finding the right material to like package it and so that you guys can also have some. I tend to be a little bit of a perfectionist. I want to have it be sustainable, eco-friendly, but also like affordable, right? Because, a lot of eco-friendly things are like surprisingly not affordable what you think it would be. And it's just like, so navigating that. But my purpose of bringing that up is just, it's good to have other people's medicine. If you resonate with another human being and they make something and like you feel good about it, like it's always such a treat to be able to ingest something that like someone put love into, because it's like it's good to give ourselves our medicine. There's a time and place where like we really should be just ingesting things that like we're creating, whether it's food or teas or whatever, like anything, even energetically, like giving ourselves our own advice. Sometimes we're like going to everyone like, what do you feel about this? And we really just need to be going to ourselves. And then there's other times where it's like it's really good to be able to receive from our community and be like, wow, this feels really good. Like you get the opportunity to be held by someone's essence. Because anytime anyone's making medicine, whether it's a tea blend or, a meal, like they're putting their intention, their energy into that dish or drink or herbs. And it's like important for us to feel good about the person who's making it. And I also feel like it's important for us to, when as medicine makers to, or, cooks, any kind of culinary, anything, to feel good when making it, because that's also being like embedded into it, encoded into it in that way. So yeah.
That's also why like local shit's just the best.
Local things, because you know where it's coming from. It's not like getting mixed by machines and like who knows from where. It's good to just be like, oh, okay, this person got some like local herbs. Some people forage, some people just order from sustainable websites or like organic, wild-crafted places. And it's, like, just good to have that, to know, like, it just feels good, supporting.
Yes.
It's something, like, don't get me wrong, I love purchasing things in general, but especially when I'm buying things locally, it just feels very nourishing, the whole transaction.
Yeah.
It's, like, what it's like to be that local vendor, what it's like to support them, and it's just that, like, that energy just feels nice rather than just, like, I feel like I get, like, grocery remorse, like, when I go to the grocery store. Yeah. I'm like, oh, man, like, I shouldn't have bought all that. Or, like, where's this really coming from, As opposed to when I'm at a farmer's market, I could drop, like, $200 and be like, it's going great. Everyone's going to a great place.
I feel that shit. Like, when you have real vegetables with dirt on them,
Yeah.
It's literally earthy for a reason.
It's real. It's like, oh wow, like that makes sense. You pulled this out of the ground yesterday. Like, why wouldn't it have dirt?
Yeah,
it's my job to clean it.
It's the tourists versus I want to go live with the people for a while.
Mm-hmm.
With the people of the town. I'm just gonna summarize everything you said in that statement. That's it. I'm gonna leave it there. I really feel you though, and I freaking tasted it. There's like pineapple in here.
Yeah, there's pineapple. There's like bamboo leaves in here, cornflower, chamomile, that like sweet calming chamomile too.
I didn't know I needed that in my tea.
I felt like same. And when I was leaving, I was gonna grab this blend that I had already made, and then I looked and I was like, wait, no. The Revive blend would be perfect for this podcast because, we're talking about repression, we're talking about refreshing, and I'm like, let's throw another word in there, like revive real fast. Because it is about reviving. You repress, you revive, you refresh, whatever word tickles your fancy, and, getting into that topic, I feel like energetically, right now, there's 6 planets that are in retrograde. Besides that, even separated from that, there's just so much happening in the world. And I feel like when the summer ends and the fall begins, it's like we get kind of forced by the entire universe to slow down. It's like the fire happens. The summer happens, and it's like we have this fire where we're like, oh, it's the summer. Oh, I don't want to waste any time. I need to get all the sun. I need to be outside all the time.
Right.
And then the fall happens, and it's like, especially New York City, like it's like, it's break. Go back in and get your jacket. Oh, you're 5 minutes late. It's okay. You're warm now. You're not freezing, and I feel like life just starts to do that. So I thank you for choosing this topic.
Yeah. I feel like this whole time kind of encompasses like there's a pause when there's so much chaos, right? There's so many things to think through in these past week and a half alone. I'd say so many shifts happening that are intense for a lot of people right now. Yeah. And I just feel like it's a perfect time to feel everything out instead of think it out,
Yeah.
That's what happens. You just keep thinking it out. And I think when life gives you that many things that you're going through at once, you have to just focus on letting go. Yeah. So it's hard. I think that's why it's been such a hard time.
Yeah.
Because, since we're talking about repression and all that.
Yeah, and especially if you're repressing something, it's like you're having a hard time navigating it naturally. That's why we repress something. It's like something's overwhelming, feels like you can't deal with it in the moment, so we put it on the back burner. And, in a way, when done, everything in moderation can be productive. But when things start falling out of balance, we can have that, like, guilt, of, like, oh, man, like, I've been putting this off for a while, and that regression is kind of spirals into, I feel like, procrastination in the everyday. Because it's like, all right, well, I can't touch this because if I touch this, that means I have to unpack all of this.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, it's like, it doesn't have to be that serious. Like, it could be, but we could also, like, it's like if we have dishes to wash, it's like, all right, well, I'm overwhelmed. My sink is full of dishes. If I wash one dish, I must complete the mission, right? But it's like, in reality, no one has a gun to your head. You really could just wash 4 dishes, and that would still be progress. But I feel like we put so much pressure on ourselves in that way of, like, no, it has to be all or nothing, or else it's not productive.
Oh, my God, we're so extreme.
Yeah.
I don't want to say everybody, but I think like no one has a choice at this point, like to feel like they've been through an extreme, because everything you're saying is just like the reminder was. I don't believe that life wants you to have to always dig that many things up right now either.
Yeah.
That's what I was saying when I was just like, it's so chaotic, so it's a good time to believe that life has something like that. It's not just like, oh, do this now.
Yeah, it's like you get to do it.
And you get to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't have to do it the way you usually do it either.
Yeah, the way you like are dreading. Like you could do it different.
The shift.
Mm-hmm.
It's always the shift. It's like, are you going to be a grower? Or are you going to be a little lump? Just not. Are you gonna just fight
a little
through?
lump?
Or you just gonna keep lumping?
Yeah, it's hard. When you start lumping, it's hard to not lump anymore, you know? And it's like, it's really a thing, you know? You're sitting there, you're lumping, and you're just like, oh, and then when you're not lumping, you're thinking about lumping, you know? Because you're like, I can't wait to be done doing what I absolutely need to do that I have no choice to doing, to lump a little, you know?
Lump a little.
It's definitely a reality. Like, when I was walking in earlier, I was just saying to Kenny, like, yesterday I just wasn't feeling like I wanted to do much. Like, I was feeling like very tired and just like lumpy, you know? And I was like, you know, I don't really feel like, you know, ironing out these lumps because that's going to take a lot of effort. Got to put, you know, water in the iron, gotta wait for it to heat up, gotta, you know, find the ironing board and like iron all those lumps out, you know. And I'm like, I don't really feel like doing all that. I'd rather just like watch the Proud Family movie and eat this quesadilla, you know. So like that's the timing that I was on yesterday, you know. So yeah, I was like, you know what?
Bro.
How can I so what I came in here this morning saying is like I just wish for myself that I can stop feeling so guilty about not doing something all the time.
Yeah.
You know, it's like
Does anyone have this problem at home?
Yeah, no, I'm sure so many people can relate to that topic because it's just like we're in a society where it's glorified, like to do things all the time and to take on so many things and move through them. Like even when you were speaking before, it was reminding me of this chapter of my life where it was like you were talking about like you don't need to dig all of these holes and like unearth all of these things. And there was a point where I feel like I lived in so much repression for a while, and then I hit this opposite extreme. It was very like, with all due respect to the deity, of just like, for an example of like the Kali energy, like the Oya energy, the rebirth, you know, destroy and like change everything, transformational energy, where I'm like, this is, I kind of took that on as my full personality, which it is certainly not my entire personality. So then I had this expectation because every time I did that, I got so much done. I felt like I needed to fall on that kind of energy in order to get anything done. And that was that, navigating those extremes of like, you don't really have to go that hard, you know, because every time I did that, it's like I just needed to like burn this piece of paper, but I would just burn down my whole house and town, and then I'm like, it's all right, everything's ashes, I'll be fine, I just have to make this house full of new wood. And it's like, that's a lot to figure out. Like, why not just burn down your piece of paper of intentions that you no longer serve you and wait for the universe and yourself to co-conspire to do it, you know?
It's because you love to make it hard.
Yeah.
Right? Where you must feel, or maybe I'm asking you, like, do you just feel like you deserve it? Like there's something in you that is used to, there's an energy from long ago that you gravitate towards because it makes you feel like you believe that it should be harder for you for some reason. And it's like you could just acknowledge that it might be harder if you have more will to grow, but it doesn't have to be a detriment, right?
Yeah, I feel like it comes from that. I'm sure in some way, somehow, like it's definitely coming from like that kind of like feel I deserve this kind of space, and then simultaneously, I guess in like conjunction with that, it's also like this is how, when I look back in time, this is how things have gotten done. Like it's like I feel like experience for myself has been like overwhelming events, and then something so overwhelming that literally forces me to do something. Like I don't know if I was talking about it on the podcast or if I was just talking about it in real life, but not that this isn't real life, but you know, it's just like everyday conversation.
It's not I understand. It's fine.
But I was talking about how like sometimes people also being I have in the past, okay, I'm going to use this traumatic event to be the catalyst of like me being productive. Like, okay, this happened, like even like a breakup or something happening to be like, all right, I'm going to get everything done. Even like getting a ticket, like I'm mad about it, I'm upset. And then like I get that done, and then I go to look up, do I have any other tickets? How can I, make sure this doesn't happen? All this like surge of like redemption energy comes out, and like I feel like I do so well at that energy, that I have in the past like really fell back on that. And something that I've been navigating recently in the day-to-day is like
almost like a vengeance being a motivator.
Yeah, and it's like the vengeance being more for myself and not towards anyone else. Like it's for myself, because it's not like, oh, okay, this person did me wrong, I'm gonna go out of my way to hurt them. It's more like, this person did me wrong, I'm gonna go out of my way to make sure that I'm good, to the point that it's like, whether it's my Leo rising or my Libra moon, that's like, I'm gonna drag how good I'm doing right now. Like, but I am in real life. It's not like it's an illusion. It's like in that moment, it's like this manic high of like, I'm doing so well. I can't wait to continue to do so well. So when you look back, you see me doing so well. So in a way, it's still external, but not in that like hurtful way, in that like self-proving way.
Like it's like you didn't hit phase 2.
Yeah.
Like you really were, like it was still kind of phase 1,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because if you are dealing with balances, I mean, then it's going to split to like so many different balances at some point. But first, you're just dealing with 2. I mean, you have Libra moon too.
Yeah.
It's rough.
Yeah, it is. Especially this past Libra new moon.
It's been, I know.
It's been pretty rough.
I'm like, bro.
It's been pretty intense. So, shout out to all my Libra placements.
Good.
If y'all know. I mean, I hope y'all don't have to know, but if you do, then you know. But yeah, it's like, I feel like we all have different, like, whether it's placements, experiences, environments, whatever it is that we grow up, or whatever makeup that resonates with us. There's these different reasons that we resonate with certain ways of coping and finding balance and lack of that, and what that looks like. Why do you feel like people repress in general? What is your outlook or like opinion on that?
Sorry. Let me see. Navigating that. I only laugh because that's what happens with trauma. I think, like,
I feel that deeply.
I don't know. I'm just, like, really open about that. Like, I feel like that could be, like, nerve-wracking to someone sometimes. Like, I don't want to, like, laugh so hard about it, but it kind of, like, it just bursts out the chest, like a true stand-up comic. No, I'm just kidding. Just, like, I think it just comes from, patterns, behaviors that you're used to somewhere, and whatever combinations of energies exist within you, it's just some things clash and then some things do not, and you have to learn, like, what parts of yourself are so close to you that you know that part of yourself, and like what are the sides you could be blind to because of maybe even powerful placements. Yeah. You have a powerful placement, and you have quite a few. So it's not in terms of whose battle is more difficult, but it's like, what do you have to navigate? Taking things in quicker than others, right? We've discussed this, you and I. Like, yeah. You're sensitive in the whole, but someone might not feel that directly from your emotions because it has more to do with thinking. It's hard to navigate, like, what that even means for some people, So, like, I feel everyone's plight there, and I think that's a part of the repression, because it's you don't realize that you could be sensitive to taking in information, and then on the reverse, who knows how much it's really affecting you, though, if that makes any sense. Like,
yeah, only you can figure that out, Yeah. Nobody else outside of you can't look at you. They can have a feeling, an estimate, an intuitive, like, moment of being like, oh, that affected that person, but they'll never truly understand all the different life circumstances that triggered.
Yeah, like, it's, and I think that's just the thing. It's like, everyone's just like, be kind, and it's like, just understand. Just understand that someone you're talking to, as best you can, like, is definitely going through something you don't know, but that you do. It's such a difficult balance. I think that has a lot to do with repression, though. In terms, just to wrap that up, like, How you would dig deeper into that would depend on, I don't know, I feel like to get, you know what, I just want to like bring up like in terms of like that mindset of like being kind to others, like through like, because people are always repressing and everyone's kind of talking about their feelings more these days, I find, in depth. And we repress in so many different ways, like in terms of maybe our feelings towards I'm navigating. You know, I came in here like blindly because I usually come more prepared. But when it comes to like repressing, it's hard to explain how some people can just put it down so deep. You know, and it's almost like weird to explain because sometimes you don't even know how much you do it, which is like a big thing that I was trying to say before too. You know, I don't know.
For sure. No, absolutely. It's like, I feel like you don't realize a lot of times unless you're in a circumstance where you're either observing someone else repress something and or, you know, when you're in a circumstance where it just kind of like rears its head out and it's like, remember me? And you're like, oh shit, like I forgot about you. You know, like where did you just come from? I didn't realize we were playing hide and seek. I thought I banished you. Like, what, like how did you hire you back? You know, and they're like, I was waiting for you to find me for like 7 years, so I decided to come find you.
It's like repression in general is all the characters in
Yeah.
this like film. It's
Yo,
like,
for
where
real.
are you? I'm here.
Yeah, it's like, and then when you think about it like that, you know, when you think about repression, like hide and seek, right? That's like in my opinion, that's what I feel like it's more like, right? Where it's like you take something and you put it somewhere, like when you're playing Manhunt or hide and seek, and you're like, all right, I'm gonna come find you, you know. But like the difference is, you know, when you're playing that game, it's like a quick thing. You're like, okay, I'm gonna count to 10. But you're like, I'm gonna come find you, and you don't give any kind of, you know, estimate time, right? Imagine about what that part of yourself must feel like, being left and abandoned in a place for an untimed amount of time, you know, like a space where it's just existing, waiting for you to come back. You know, like I've never thought about it until just now like this, but it makes me kind of sad. Like it's like, oh, like little repressed part of me or feelings that I'm having like must feel so lonely. No wonder why it's coming back like so angry. Like, bitch, what the fuck? You left me. You know, like, or even like if you look at it more simpler and like kind of take out the profanity, it's like a kid getting lost in a supermarket. You know, it's like that feeling of fear. It's like, well, I'm trying to look for something that looks familiar. Whether it's my mom's scarf or her shirt or something. And the first person, like I remember getting lost in the supermarket one time and I looked for my mom. I was freaking out. I was like, oh my God, like where's my mom? Like I remember being like what's gonna happen? Like I'm in the supermarket and it felt so big and scary to me. I was very little. And I ran over to this woman that I thought was my mom. She had like blonde hair and like, you know, same color shirt. And I was like, Mom, and I like pulled her shirt and she was like, and I looked at her and I was like, like, luckily my mom was looking for me too. Like she was like around the corner because I was just like spaced out or something, like trying to like get my mom to buy me ice cream. And she was like, no, I need to go get, you know, broccoli or whatever, like rice, you know. So she kept walking and I was just like, but please, you know. So that's how I ended up getting lost in general. But then like, you know, that feeling of like finding her and the fact that she wanted to find me, naturally, I would hope, right? You know, situation's fucked up. Life is crazy, so you never know. But I was like, oh, relief, right? So now I'm thinking about it. If I revisit my repressions with that same energy, like, I'm here and I'm looking for you. I'm sorry that we got lost. Like, things happen. I had to, like, you know, kind of put you over here for now. But I'm here and I'm looking for you and I'm ready to receive you, to give you your space. Like, what is it that you need? you know, I feel like that might be a good approach for some people, because I feel like now after having that conversation, I just kind of therapied myself, and I'm like, definitely utilize that.
I know, though, like most, this is what I'm talking about, bro. Because I'm like, sometimes I'm sitting here, sometimes you're mad fast, by the way. And then sometimes I'm like, holy shit, I need more time to think. And then I'm like, holy shit, that's how different we are. But so similar in some ways, I understand you. But I feel so sensitive. I got this Cancer Mercury. It's making me really, I feel like even through your talk, like where it's, you feel the energy of where something's coming from sometimes from someone. I'm like, I really feel that. I feel the analogy, though. I do. I think it's funny because this was the Repress and Refresh show. And when I think about it, it's like, if I'm going through it, how am I going to be able to talk about it yet? Mm-hmm. Right? It's like, just because you've been doing it for so long doesn't mean that now that you, like, have an epiphany, like, oh, I'm doing it. It's like, you've been doing it. Yeah. So now it's time to not. So it's like, oh, all that means is talking.
Yeah.
That's wild, bro.
It really is. Like, even in that sense, even in that same breath, like, what is a way that, like, you came to realize this? Like, what is one of the indicators or, things that came to light, if you're open to sharing, whatever you're open to sharing?
I think I started to feel it physically. I'm always feeling it. Like I'm like, look at my posture, bro. Like, it's like, you could become so viscerally aware of the weight you put on yourself when you're shifting somewhere, but there's a side of you that's not, and you're aware of yourself. So when your environment shifts, and I put myself around, like, pretty brilliant people, I like to believe. Like, I do. I feel like I've come to that point. I'm like, not, like, the energy right now is better than it's ever been with friends and everything in my life. So what holds you back when everything is becoming good and you are, like, used to these, like, old twitches and reactions of maybe it starts to just become more clear that when you're building the goodness in your own life, like, everything else sticks out like a sore thumb a little bit, and you just start to see the shift, and you're like, oh. And because, I don't know, I think it can also come down to just sometimes in your life that, like, there are just big decisions to make, Like, I love, being an artist in this community, just in this life. I just love being, because I just want to, it's not that I even love it. I'm just very grateful if I can get myself more balanced. I want to just implement more connection, and I'm like, I'm trying to fight through that all the time. And I think there's just an immense pressure that I can just put on myself. I think that's just my power. The pressure's real. Like, it's so silly, Like, it's tough when you begin to talk more out loud and you hear yourself out loud, obviously, I guess. But when you're really not doing it that much and you don't know why for so long, it's also because, like, I couldn't navigate everything until, like, this year, I'm 29, Like, I couldn't navigate how to be, I feel, like a stronger part of myself until now. That's just my life path, and that's how I feel about it. I don't really have pity there or, like, sorrow for it. I'm just very, like, forgiving of time. So when you're forgiving and you become more forgiving of time, despite your age and where you've been, you can, you might have the ability to forgive others. And sometimes I realize I've forgiven people before, like, navigating whys. And then it's like, why am I not asking myself more questions? It's just like this inability, because there's the parts of my mind that are, like, going like this are just, like, control my life. And the other part is just, like, a slow burn. And it takes, like, building the right environment around you to even try to be able to navigate, because you're never taking the time off for yourself. because you love to work. But it's been very nice to learn about rest and to learn about getting my ass in gear at the same time. And I don't know, through the balance, just that's like the release of the repression, you know. It's and through doing and not thinking about it anymore. You know, thinking is always going to be a part of everybody's life, and more now when you don't, you know, we don't even have, like, I bring this up all the fucking time. It's not like a broken record, but truly, like, the fact that these video games load as fast as they do now, you're just in a new reality like that.
Mm-hmm.
And there's nothing wrong with a game. There's nothing wrong with what you give and what you experience, as long as you understand that. I don't know, I'm just a bit traditional that way. I believe, like, hey, I love that. I think that's fantastic. But remember, waiting in a line or waiting for something to begin, those moments are very important. So I think we're all just navigating speeds again. And like you said before, when it gets really extreme, and then you want to navigate your emotions in different speeds because the world's moving and you got to catch up with it. That's that shit I don't believe in, you know? There's going to be a time where you have to, like, light a fire under your ass. But I don't know. The reality of us being on Instagram, being here in the studio with Kenny, like, it's just, it's been the best to become more present.
Yeah.
That's it. And not letting any of this be anything but materials that we're thankful that can give us platform, and that, like, I don't know, that's it. It's just about, like, trying to just not look back at any resentment of the past, just, like, really throw it away. When people say, like, oh yeah, throw the past away, the past is in the past, I don't know, it's fucking every song. I just, like, it's so crazy if you hear, like, songs like that all the time too, just in the background or something, and it's just everything's so dismissed, but it is true. It's just, like, it's so true, but it's just sometimes so difficult when you don't have resolves, and then it's like, how much do you want resolve?
Yeah.
Over your mental.
Yeah.
What is your resolve? Everybody's growing at a different speed. Am I going to be mad at, like, everybody who existed before this point in my life, and I'm like, oh, all these people, they just sucked, and all my exes sucked, and everybody sucked? It's like, I don't feel that way at all. Mm-hmm. I'm just like, yeah, like, I don't know what the fuck I was doing, like, 10 years ago. Like, I had an idea for myself for art, but then you have to get through your ego and your pride and your lack thereof, and I'm just like, oh God, that's a forever experience. That's not for today.
Yeah.
That's what's so whack. It's just like, that's a forever experience. But that's weird, too, because then you're so forgiving of other people's experience, no matter what in your life, that, like, then it's like, how's anybody supposed to feel special? Mm-hmm. Right? If I'm just like, I love you, Ash. I love you, Kenny. I love you. Sign. Like, I'm just, then you're all receiving the same love. But maybe there's something true about that within some of us, where, like, you're just a more humanitarian lover. That's a stars thing, too.
Yeah.
Air. Love. But you want to remember, like, oh wait, but I want to concentrate sometimes and be like, no, I have to try more to remember. I'm not just going to tell you, like, yeah, I'm just forgetful. It's what I do. I forget. And it's like, don't get me wrong, I'm like wee woo like all the time. Like, you know, SpongeBob, and he's like, not talking about this or this we're talking about. I'm not gonna keep quoting SpongeBob till I'm 65 or anything. But I think why did I make a joke? Then it throws me off. Mm-hmm. It's the problem. But yeah, long story short, because I've been talking a while now, I have to remember to practice remembering, practice caring. It sounds robotic, and it would, but some people just have different ways of caring about one another. And we really all are similar, and you got to respect everybody's shit. So yeah, the repression can come in there, but if you can share that and, like, give people a really honest experience, then we shouldn't be worrying about all these things, because everything's been pretty good. Even if it's bad for people in some areas, it always is. I'm not going to generalize and say everything's pretty good, but I think I I do think we obviously have the ability to just make more trouble for ourselves and have you too much exposure to everything.
Yeah.
It's like just
overstimulating and debilitating.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like I love, yes, Google's great. Like, you know, like there's gotta be days for all the most memorable days of the year. We're just present, so you can remember it more vivid. It's so important, you know? I don't want to look back, like even in my phone or shit and see a bunch of pictures and nothing. Yeah. It's been nice it's hard to delete now. You know, because it's not just like 1,000 pictures of a worm and a stick. Because sometimes, there's nothing wrong with that, though.
Yeah.
Because I love worms. Anyway, long story short, I'm going to stop there. Do you have anything that's on your mind?
Yeah. You know, you were saying before, like, I just really couldn't resonate. And I really feel you while you're speaking, like, there's a lot of things that I can definitely agree and also like say like, yeah, like I feel that, like me too, you know. And something that you had said that stuck out to me was like, you know, that's the problem. You know, it's like when talking about the joke, it's like I literally was talking to my girlfriend about this yesterday. It was like there was a meme or something that it was talking about I thought I was having such a great session in therapy until my therapist said, stop trying to win at therapy with your charm or something like that. And your charm and your wit, and be present in what we're trying to do here. And I giggled when I read that. I like laughed mad hard. I was like, yeah, like I really feel like this is something my therapist would say to me, because it's like, and I was explaining to my girlfriend, I was like, yeah, I'm like, you know, I'm like, there's times I'm like, we're talking about some like heavy shit, where like I'm packing some heavy shit, and then I'll like throw in something just naturally. I wouldn't even think about it, but it'll be like funny and charming, and then I'm like laughing about it, and like I'll like see her crack a smile or something, and I'm like, oxytocin, you know, yeah, you know, or she won't, and I'm like, wow, why, you know, and then I'm like, and then I'm like, you know, but I'm like aware of this part of myself, and after hearing you express yourself, I can see that you are as well, and I think it's like, you know, looking at it as the problem, it's also, it has been a solution for us for so long, like dealing and navigating with trauma, or I'll speak for myself, for me, like it's been, I feel like most of the human beings that do throw kind of like comedy or like laughter into certain situations, like even if I'm not speaking, my body responds to it. Like a fucked up situation will happen and I will laugh, and I have to literally like pretend I'm coughing or like turn away, because it's like something so fucked up will happen, even in my own life. And like I've always gotten in trouble for like laughing at things that aren't funny, you know, and or like smirking at it. It's like, why are you smirking? Wipe the smirk off your face. And I'm like, it makes it worse, you know. I'm like, now I'm gonna laugh about it. And it's like we all have different ways to cope, to deal with, to repress, to transmute. And I found that laughing has been one of the areas I have used. So it's like for so long it was a solution, because in order for me to not fully repress, if I laughed, it's transmuting something. So it's getting something out of me, because maybe I don't feel like I have time to cry, but I always have time to laugh.
Oh, so, that's a way to look at it.
Yeah, it's like that's something that like definitely, you know, stood out to me, you know, while you were speaking, because I think that, you know, even in navigating, like you said, like how can I speak on something that I'm experiencing or just kind of came aware of, right? And that's what I think is like interesting about this podcast, is because that's the only thing I talk about with people are things that are like present and coming up a week before. That's always the process. So it's like, all right, well, here's a week to sit on the fact that you're going to go talk about it. So, you know, in that way, the reason why I do that is because I know for myself, when I'm talking about something that isn't present, I'm not present, right? Now I'm in the past. My brain starts going and time traveling into another time and space so that I can get reacquainted with the things that I was feeling in that moment so I can share whatever I'm talking about authentically. When we talk about things that are more presently coming up, it's giving ourselves the opportunity to be present with ourselves, you know, and then also be present with someone else in that process who's also going through it, because or experiencing something similar, because that's always like the common thread. And then that's how we create the podcast, right, together, because we're co-creating it. You and whoever I have on are co-creating it. Even when it's me by myself on here talking, like whoever is in my reality is helping co-create my podcast. Facts. Because I'm talking about, you know, whatever is coming up for me presently, or, you know, and so it's always a co-creation every episode, you know. And I feel like, I guess even just the more consistently I'm doing this and I'm talking on here, I'm just realizing how deep that actually runs, and how, you know, I'm just really grateful that it's like such a collaborative experience. Yeah. You know, so it's in that, like, I've, you know, something that's been coming up recently also with, I've been sitting with the repression. And I've been like acknowledging the need to refresh, and then like doing like little sprinkles of it, but not fully committing to that refreshing, right? Because I'm like, no, I'm not done. I'm not done uncovering
you can't
the
do
repression.
What you say you're gonna do. That's wild, bro.
Right? Absolutely absurd. It's like, I'm like, because in my head I'm like,
power.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm not.
It's too much power, bro. It's that Leo rising. It's like power.
Oh my goodness.
I'm totally projecting.
No, it's completely fine. It's completely fine. Yeah, no, it's like, it's interesting, because if we were to like kind of unpack that for a second, even in its truth and its reality, like being Leo rising, right? Like it's because I don't have Leo placements like anywhere else really. And it being in my rising, being such a theme, is like almost like that fear of myself and my own power, you know, constantly. Yeah. And like the Cancer is like that guarded, like almost not, I don't want to say repressed. I don't want to say repressed. I just want to say guarded, but could easily resort to repression, especially in the conjunction of like these other energies. But for the folks that aren't familiar with astrology, I also don't want to speak another language. So I want to say, like, there's a part of myself that is afraid of myself if I actually follow through with my word, because at other times of my life, when I am following through with my word and I'm feeling good, people around me start to not feel so good, because then it's bringing up, you know, whatever it's bringing up. I'm not going to say or tell anyone what it's bringing up within them, only what I could observe. So that in itself has become, which I could look at as a problem, but has also at one point been a solution to create a comfortable environment for me to not lose everyone. Why? Because that's rooted in my abandonment issues, you know, that I've been navigating through for years, like with different experiences. You know, people think of abandonment issues like you have to have a parent or a sibling or someone who left you, right? Or whatever the case is. And like, that's just like, that is it. That's a part of it. But that's the tip of the iceberg. Like, you can have someone who passed away. You can have, you know, people not being able to be fully present with you is a form of this abandonment. Having conversation and someone's picking up their phone and not giving you their attention is also abandonment. And we need to like address that, because in those moments when people get supercharged and triggered, when like, especially I feel like phones, like that comes up so much in relationships right now. It's like, can you get off your phone? Can we sit and talk? Like, we didn't even answer my house phone when we were eating dinner when I was younger. And like now it's just like so natural for all of us to just be like, and I'm guilty of it too. So like when I have to check myself as well. I'm certainly not a saint. I'm human existing in 2022 who also is constantly fighting my technology addiction. That's a reality. You know, that's why I bought a flip phone, but I don't use it. Like, I bought it and I was using it for a little while, and I'm like, this is extra expense right now. I need to cut this line. Why do I have 2 phone numbers? But, you know, the goal is so I can take my SIM card out and sometimes put it in there. That's and then dedication. Just use my phone for Wi-Fi. I tried. I did my best, you know. maybe I'll revisit that. Who knows? Stay tuned, you know. All of that to say is just like the aspect of refreshing. It's like, you know, now that we go through these moments and it's like, okay, boom, like I've uncovered a lot of shit I'm repressing. All right, like, can we move forward? Like, what does that look like? And
Yeah, like, how long do you stare at the pile and you're like,
how long? Yeah, like, how long are you gonna dwell on that and like feel like you can't move forward, or like you're not worthy of anything until you're complete with like digging up everything, you know? And or even if it's just one thing, and I want to stress that too, is like, some people don't feel like they need to dig up everything, but some people feel like if you started to uncover one thing, you can't move forward until that's complete. So with that being said, just remembering, like, you can refresh yourself in this process. You know, even taking that moment, like, we refresh ourselves every time we stop speaking and decide to either take a breath or take a sip of water or tea. You know, so it's like acknowledging that. I think we're doing a lot more refreshing than we're actually giving ourselves credit for. Therefore, it's feeling like we're not refreshing.
yeah.
But we're innately doing things. Like, you came here with your reusable water bottle. That's a great thing. You know what I mean? Like, you knew before you left your house, like, I'm going to bring water with me.
It's true.
You know, like me on the other hand, I didn't realize till the very last second before I went out the door. I still got it, but a little one, it still exists, but it's like I still need to give myself credit that I thought of the water and I worked with what I had. You know what I mean? And like, that's gonna look different for anyone. Everyone. Doesn't mean that I'm not a person who believes in sustainability.
I agree.
It just means in the moment I had a little tiny baby water bottle, and that was better than not having any water.
Exactly,
you know, and not being so critical on that. Everybody that walks around with a plastic water bottle doesn't mean that they want to actually contribute to the waste in the world. Maybe that's all that was accessible for them in the moment. Would you rather them parch themselves?
Exactly.
That's why it's really important to mind your own business, like, and not project like that critical thinking, because we really don't know what someone else is going through. We can even think we do, even if they're our partner, our friend, our sibling, parent, whoever. If we don't even have full awareness of what's going on with ourselves, how the fuck do we think we know exactly what's going on with someone else?
Exactly. It hit me one day. Tell you a story. I just made that dramatic for no fucking reason. It's not even a story. No, but it definitely hit me. I just like
didn't even finish the sip. It was the whole drama in the. I was enticed. I'm here.
Indiana Jones. I basically fantasy though, right? The end. No, I feel like when you, like, if you have to really check yourself, like you don't know what someone's thinking.
Yeah.
Checking yourself, being like, and erasing it all. Be like, nothing. It might as well be a dream.
Yeah.
Not that dreams don't have meanings and stuff, but I don't really dive deep into that right now. It's more just like that. Just like whatever you're imagining, like, that's nice, dear. You just talk to yourself like, it's nice, dear. It's nice that you think that. To myself. Like, yeah. And then it's also like, yeah, how much control do you really want?
Yeah.
Like, you can only control yourself. You can control things, but you have to control yourself first and understand what that means. And then there's another thing to think about, like, are you doing it too much? Are you not? It's just like, whoa, like, I don't want much control. You know? Like, even when it comes to the arts and collaborations and everything like this, like, this stuff I love to just be involved in. In terms of control, no. Just like, whenever I'm coming onto your show right now, you're in control. I'm in control of myself, but this is your deal, your digs, and I just, like, respect that. And that's like, I could put all that energy into respect in a real way, and nothing into me thinking anything about that. And it's weird to even bring that up, because it's like, well, what do you mean by that? But it's like, like, everybody will also, like, since a lot of people do project and not even know, it'll help to understand, like, what energy you're coming into the room with.
Yeah.
That helps. Just fucking do it. Take the time. However long it takes you to do it, you do it, and then life gets fun and it gets better.
Absolutely.
And if it could be the beginning of that.
Taking that responsibility for our own energy, I think, is so important and so underrated and not talked about enough, because it's like something that is like it literally will curate your entire reality of your experience, like going into a space and being like, how am I feeling right now? Okay, boom. Do I want to walk forward with that? Okay, how can I change that if I feel like I want, what do I want to walk into experience with?
Yeah.
Like even just like, you know, everything that you're explaining is like, I was just really fortunate to have gotten I was interviewed the other day on a podcast, and I loved coming into this exact space and just surrendering to the fact that you're in control. You have the reins. I don't even have to think right now about like the technical or like the timing or any, like, it's like, I'm just here. Like, what would you like from me? You know,
Think
like
about it. Nothing but what we're saying, what you're talking about. Like, hell yeah.
Just being just like allowing yourself to have a response and not a reaction. And I think that that's like big, and that's something, you know, I was listening to a podcast earlier this morning. They were talking a lot about that. The person who was getting read on the podcast was someone who they were navigating a lot of like quick reactions, and like their reaction time is like very fast, and like they really need like a good like 48 to 72 hours to respond. And I feel like I can resonate with that. Like I feel like ideally for like big things, when it comes to like conversations and stuff, like I tend to react very quickly, you know, like, or respond very quickly even, like, because I truly believe that I do have a quick response time when it's coming to, like, conversationally. But then again, sometimes I'll go into oversharing remorse where I'm like, maybe if you just, like, waited a second, you wouldn't have, you know, started from age 2 with your trauma. And we could have just said, like, oh, when someone asked you if you're okay, you could have just said, like, it's all right. Like, you know, it's like, it's not bad, you know? It's like, you could have found a balance there. You missed more. It's okay. Do better next time, you know? But, yeah, you know, I try not to be cryptic, and then I try not to overshare. I try to be something right in between. I aspire to be a concise person, to just get to the point and like do that with grace. And but I am a person who loves details. You know, I have a Virgo Mars, like I'm all about the details. So I'm like, you too? Oh, look at us finding another placement.
Oh, people don't know where the real anxiety comes from.
Facts. Oh my goodness.
For
Yeah.
any star people, it's just Virgo Mars.
Oh my goodness.
I thought it was I work like Aquarius, but I think it's the Virgo Mars that makes you more anxious. Because I think, oh, Aquarian, you know, Aquarian loves to give information. Aquarian loves to touch everything. They're so unique. And I always feel like you can just easily associate like a summation of that with anxiousness. But the Virgo knows the anxiousness to a point of seamlessness. But then when you see, I don't know if this is you, but like, I don't know, you ever have someone witnessing you like be even in your own house, and like you just look like you can't sit down, like you don't know what to do with the energy. And it's sad, bro. It's a sad sight to see. But it's so it's always just, everything's a reminder that we have to really pet.
It really is
we
true.
need a petting
Like,
zoo for us.
no, for sure. And it's like, I feel like Virgo Mars is very much so like, it's very critical. You know what I mean? It's one of Virgo's like superpower, and also I guess like can be looked at as like a negative, because it could be negative, but it could also be a positive. I think I look at it like as a neutral. Extremely judgmental, but the thing is, you need a good judgment too, right?
Yeah.
You need a good judgment. A lot of my good judgment calls are coming from my Virgo placement, because I have water, air, and earth in my top 3, and I don't have air. I mean, I don't have earth,
You're
right?
telling me to give more power to that area.
Yeah, I think I said it wrong, but whatever. Maybe I was supposed to. Anyway, y'all don't even know all my details.
No, that's
but yeah, like
fantastic.
it's. But yeah, it's
Just
like
deal out all the cards.
I
now.
need that grounding. So it's like that judgment call when it's like, okay, I shouldn't do this. is a good thing.
Yeah.
But it's also debilitating when it's like, I don't want to do this until it looks like this. And that's where the perfectionism comes in.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You gotta snip your own umbilical cord.
Literally, it's like you have to snip your own umbilical cord. You have to literally create and curate spaces where that has no option to attach either, because it's like, even like doing things live, like I've said this a million times on the podcast, like the reason I do the podcast live is because if I didn't do it live, y'all would never get it. Like y'all would get like 3 episodes a year, like because of how I am when I edit.
Yo, yeah, that makes a lot of sense, and it's super smart, and it just makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense. I'm speaking loud because it hits like that.
Yeah,
it's true. Because the editing process. Oh my God, you could do it.
Absolutely,
gotta have the confidence there. I know I could do that shit, but it's fucking. Yeah, it's kind of like even if you're just on Instagram, it's like, bro, if I could stay on here all day and support artists, I fucking would. Just heart the shit out of everything and share it. I really would. And I actually would like to literally do that in the future. But right now, it's also just like, I'm trying to get on there and be like, scooty bop bop, scoop. It's just another part of like, just as long as breakfast, maybe breakfast is longer. That's the goal. Like that's it. So just knowing your designated space for these things, it's good. Podcast feels good. I like being on here. Like, it's just very cozy. Like, this is a wave. I likes it. I like what you're doing. I think this is more podcasts for just different people talking to each other.
Yeah.
Bro, what do we need right now besides that?
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't need to talk to me. I mean, I do out loud in the mirror sometimes need to. Like, I literally need to strive. By the way, everything I've said just in this whole show, it's only, I preach nothing. I only exist on the other side of it, There's an ugly part for me. It's humanity, I exist on the part that this is new. This bottle, like, I've been dying to get one, and then why haven't I? It's just because, like, even my dad will just, like, be a hell of a guy. He'll just stop over, bring some Poland Springs and shit. And I'm just like, God damn. And then as soon as I actually got gifted this one because I told a friend I wanted it, and I was like, I got to get it next paycheck or whatever. I'll get these things. And she got it, and then I immediately was like, I should have got a canteen or something. I should have got something better. I should have, like, right? It's the extremes again. And it's like, bro, and it took me so long to even do this. And it took me I'm still navigating some of the shit I'm talking about. I just spoke my mind, like, the other night, even talking about, like, recording and music with friends. And, I mean, with, like, literally, like some of the closest people around me. And it's just, it's so tough to break through everything we're saying.
Yeah.
Just as a reminder, like, it's not, like, easy to sit here with a cup of tea and just, like, it is now because it can be because of opening up.
Showing up, doing, surrendering.
Platforms like this, showing up, making yourself have to. Like I said, bro, I didn't sleep. But I feel good. I feel, like, very energized and awake because it's who you're around always.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I give a shit to talk for sure. So it's great. You're great.
Oh, thank you. So are you. And I'm so happy that you took the time to, come up here and also be vulnerable and share the things that you've shared and, just be transparent, be you. You're great. I love interacting and having conversations with you always.
Yay!
Yeah. I feel like all the, like, we every time we talk, we find out more and more about each other's charts and we're like, oh, that's why that makes sense.
I know. And
like,
don't feel guilty about it either. I'm just like, nah, because there's a lot going on. we have a lot of similarities. They're just in different spots, which shows you. It's just like,
which is really cool because it's like you get to see, it's comfortable and contrasting at the same time.
Yeah.
So that's like a beautiful thing, and that's why that's why I love astrology and just like people and different forms of mediums to find out more about. Even if you're like, oh, I'm super into Myers-Briggs, and I'm like, okay, boom, like I'm ENFP or whatever I am, something like that. But it's like just whatever forms of self-exploration, and then sharing that is like, hi, like this is me, but then this is also like me.
Yeah.
Like, this is me too. You know what I mean? You might not see it right now.
Taking a bunch of money.
But like it's there, know, and it might peek out, and when it does, you'll understand. Like it's it's a cool thing to like understand, learn how to understand yourself more and others, and love that.
Yeah,
Love that.
me too, bro. We gotta talk stars too another time.
Yeah, for sure.
I want to.
We'll have some time after
Do
here.
another one.
Yeah,
But I'm also like this was like therapeutic as hell. I'm gonna take this like back, like everything that you mentioned about just. I'm gonna definitely take that laughing back, the laughing for in substitute. And I'm definitely gonna take back. Yeah, just the abandonment, but the stopping the navigating. I feel that just stop the navigating. We know what we've been through. Yeah. When the more we talk to each other, we'll get closer to understanding it, right? And that's it. Or this is kind of like a journal.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is something I look forward to, if or when you look back at this and also like take back the things that you said and where that's gonna like heal and nourish you, by listening to your own voice. I think that's just like that's the purpose of this, Like, dude, like it's just like I love to see it, and so like I know how fulfilling that's been for myself. I used to hate my own voice, like if I heard myself recorded on anything, I was like, oh God, please shut it off. And there was not a day that I thought that I would be listening to my own podcast while I'm like painting my divider. I have like this big room divider. It had like some tacky thing written on it. So I was just like, let me like paint over this, and I remember like that was one of the first times I really listened to an episode from beginning to end on random, from just going like that, but like actively seeked it out, not to like, oh, let me go, like, because sometimes I have, we do these podcasts and I'm like, wow, like I was so present, I don't even feel like I know exactly what was said. So like I'll like go back and I'm like, okay, boom. But this time it was like I was in such a raw space. I was like, I need my own advice right now. I'm like, did I talk about a topic surrounding this? And it was about breaking cycles. I went back to the episode and I had my friend Dev on here, and like, like the things that we were both saying was just like just bombs. And then after that I listened to, I'm like, what else am I feeling right now? Can I go to another one? And like, it's so beautiful because hearing myself speak and hearing the guests that have come on, just knowing like we naturally attract to each other. And like the way that it's set up with this podcast is like, it's a double resonance. It's like if someone hits me up and they're like, hey, can I be on here? And I don't genuinely feel it, I'll either be like, hey, let's revisit this, or I'll transparently say like, I'm just not feeling that right now, and and then the opposite, if it's like boom, then it's like, oh, okay, so at that chapter we were resonating with this, and it just, I don't know, it's like I do know it's like a puzzle piece that just lands somewhere. So when you go back in time, you're like, wow, it just clicks in a different way. So it's really cool to like witness and be a part of. So I'm excited for that aspect, when that comes around.
Yeah, bro. That's a dope account. I want hugs.
Oh, podcast hugs.
That's mad good.
Yeah, we're both in our cozy jackets. Love that for us.
I love that for us. I came a little too cozy though.
No, there's not too cozy.
A little too.
You out here?
Cozy. Just like, good night. But no, so cozy. I love you, Kenny.
So I just before we conclude the pod, is there anything else that you wanted to touch base on? Anything you want to tell your future self?
God, I don't know. I don't want to give it away. I want my future self to struggle because I'm not through my repression yet. I'm just kidding. I'll end it there for comedy, and maybe if this happens again, no. What am I gonna tell my future self? What should I tell my future self? Look at me. You almost let me fall into the. We're not even friends. Just kidding. What's this? I want to tell myself to just chill. I will come back here and be like, really chill. Everything is moving. You're healthy. You have ability. Just chill. Just chill. That's it. I'm going to take my last sip of the best tea alive.
Sometimes the simplest things are exactly what you need to hear. Most of the time, at least for me. I know, because I'm like, a lot of times I'm like, oh, I think I need some prophetic definition. And then sometimes even when I look up a word that I'm not too familiar with, and it's just like, means this, and it's like 2 words, I'm like, and I'll click. If it's like, means, then I'm like, you know, my brain's like, oh, it could mean this and this and this, and fit into all these different spaces. When it's just like, yo, just chill. Word. My shoulders go down. Yeah. Just chilling now.
Oh my God.
Just chilling now. We're just out here chilling.
That's it. I'm trying to look like I'm chilling. I'm trying to learn from the master over here.
Master of chill.
Master of chill.
What is today's date? The 28th?
Such a glorious title. Yes, it is.
Okay. So
Let's go.
I'm going to read from the Peace of Mind book today's message. So September 28th, it is universally admitted that there are natural healing power resident in the body. Many people have learned to relax, keep quiet like animals, giving the nature of a free opportunity to heal their maladies.
Let's check it. Maladies.
I've never seen that word ever. Maladies. Okay.
It's aged like color with the UR.
Okay, I'm gonna read it one more time because I feel like I just struggled a little bit. So
I would like to receive it one more time, honestly.
It is universally admitted that there are natural healing powers residing in the body. Many people have learned to relax and keep quiet like animals, giving nature a free opportunity to heal their maladies. By Horato W. Dresser. Do you know people who rarely get sick? Even the sore throat everyone seems to have. Then there are those who always seem to be sick, getting one cold after another or having perpetual headaches. You may notice that those who rarely get sick make their wellness a priority. They eat well, they get plenty of rest, exercise, and strive to maintain a positive outlook. As a result, these people stay physically, emotionally, and spiritually healthy. To take the first step towards such wellness, strive to reduce and eliminate any self-destructive health habits you may have. Instead of eating something that's been deep fried, heavily salted, or loaded with sugar, eat a fresh garden salad. Stop work when you start to begin to become fatigued, not when you can't see straight or you're ready to drop. And go to bed at a reasonable hour, one that gives you a sufficient rest so that you can start each day refreshed and invigorated. The affirmation for today is, I am my own healer. Today I'll learn to listen to my body and respect its messages. I am my own healer. Today I will learn to listen to my body and respect its messages. It's crazy how this book, every single time,
That hit.
has to do with the podcast. Like, I don't read it before, and I always read it live on here, which y'all can tell because I'll be like stuttering over the words, so forgive me. But like every time it has like either a word that's in the title or a theme that's in the pod, and just like,
I believe in it.
it's so interesting. Going back to the beginning where you said, I'm like, how do you know you're repressing something? You said when it started to get visceral. So you listen to your body. So although, you know, like I've also been feeling the same thing. So although I might have not cleaned up my entire diet or have gotten to sleep every night at a good time or done every single thing that was listed in there, we're already on that road of refreshing. We're already on that road of listening to our body and what it needs by honoring the fact that we're feeling something that is repressed that needs to come out.
Facts. This is what I need.
Yeah.
Feed me the good mindset.
Yeah. That's what was needed the most and first.
Yeah, just
That's
to
why
realize
there's no
that
judgment.
It's both the same, but you can look at it like this in a real way.
Absolutely. Like, that's why when some people are like, oh, why don't you just eat better for other people that But it's like, well, maybe they need to digest content that's better for them. Maybe they need to do other things that are better for them. You know what I mean? Like, everyone doesn't have a manual. Like, the only manual you could ever find is by listening to your body.
Yeah.
And your responses to things. That's actually our manual, in my opinion, you know, humbly. So, yeah, I wanted to read that and then
Feel it. I feel it.
And I have 2 more things that I'd like to do before concluding the podcast in general. I want to pull some cards, and then I'd like to play the Sacro Bowl for 2 amazing reasons, which I'll get into when I get there. But for anyone who is listening to this podcast and who is open to receiving a message, a reading, tapping into this moment, closing your eyes, taking a deep breath, getting yourself ready to receive, would you like some?
Sure.
I always feel like it's rude to not offer it. Have you ever worked with that before?
Never.
Okay, so it's Florida water.
Tell me.
So it's used to cleanse and also just connect yourself with the present moment and with your guides.
Wow.
Yeah.
Cool.
So you could take it and just like anoint yourself wherever you feel called to. That's like the queen of refreshment. That water right there, for sure.
Oh my God. It's lovely. Oh, wait, let me get it out of frame.
Thank you.
Of course. Thank you.
Oh, you're so welcome. Mentally, right now in this moment, I can't stop singing this Chris Brown song.
What is it?
What is it called? Under the Influence? I literally can't get it out of my head. I was driving, listening to it on the way, and I'm like, baby, who cares? Like, I literally can't stop. So I'm like, all right, brain, let's get ready to read this, guys.
Chris Brown.
Crazy. But yeah.
He has new stuff.
That was the new one. Just like a new.
I can't believe he still has new stuff. Like, he's going. He's not gonna stop.
No comment.
He's gonna dance.
What I mean?
He's gonna top. This is not negative. This is good for him. I'm glad he found this.
Listen, anyone could come back for anything. I don't support or condone. I am very neutral in that space. You know.
No. Oh no, I feel it. I'm strictly talking just artistry.
Yeah.
Just to hear that name.
Absolutely.
Still.
For it to still be relevant when we were kids and he was just like, is it me? Oh my God.
Oh my God. Let me see. I had Usher going in my head, going to bed. God damn it. What was it? No, with Alicia. God damn it.
My boo. Classic.
Who you remember, girl? I was the one.
That's the classic. So taking a moment now to get present to get into this reading.
Let me do this.
I ask you, Creator, to use me as a vehicle to pass along any messages that need to be passed on to whoever is open to receiving them here and now in this moment. What are the things that want to be presented and shown up in a good way? What is the energy that is surrounding us? What is the best thing that we can do to help us come out of that, repressed state, if that's where you're coming from, and, tune into that refreshment? What is it that we need to refresh ourselves this time and moment? There's a lot that came out here. Essentially, if I were to put this reading into a sentence, it would look like, or sound like rather, although unpacking and digging into things can kind of make us relive certain circumstances, in order to move forward through them and not allowing them to kind of bleed all over our lives, it's good to kind of cheer yourself on in that way, like knowing that you can do it, that procrastination, and that you can tell when you're procrastinating and when you're genuinely just too overstimulated to do something. So it's not about having shame surrounding either of these energies. It's just about acknowledging and being honest with yourself and what you can do in the moment. So setting yourself up in these spaces to attract the best things for you from within you. That can look like paying attention to your crown chakra right now would be really good to help with taking those like critics in our brain and giving them more of a space to attract also the encouragement. So if you're feeling like right now in your head there's just a lot of like naysayers and like, oh, this is bad, like, and it's that negative connotation, like allowing yourself to tune into your crown chakra and clear up your head and open up your mind to that connection with source, which whatever belief system you believe in or resonate with, just creating that open kind of space so that you are connected with all of the beautiful words that also can come to mind, like giving that space to, okay, that voice says you can't do it, you shouldn't do it, you should do more. And then there's that voice that's like, you can do it. Like, you're amazing. Like, did you see all the things you did? Like, you get to do this. You're beautiful. Like, you're wild. Like, you're unimaginably amazing. And you deserve to know that. Unlocking your support system is really what all of this is about. Like, for anyone who's listening and anyone that this resonates with, like, really centering what does your own support system look like within yourself. The same way if your friend or your loved one came to you and was like, yo, I'm going through this, and like how you support them and how you're so ready to be there for them in so many different ways. I invite you to allow yourself to gain access to that because it's already within you to do that for others. So considering yourself worthy enough and valuable enough to kind of just like, it's like a little like tick. It's a little like you have the key in your hand and there's a door and you just need to put the key in there and unlock it. And how to do that may look and show up differently for different people, but essentially just sitting with yourself, giving yourself the presence and really just focusing on your head. For those who are into chakras and things like that, like really focusing on that seventh one, really focusing on crown chakra. If you're not familiar but you're curious, look into it, see the different things. I feel like crown chakra can be a little confusing to those. Like, it's all about connection with the divine and things like that, yes, but it also surrounds like overthinkers and things like that, and it could get confused with like the third eye and the crown, but just really centering the crown chakra right now. Doing something to clear your mind, even taking something like simply water and just like praying over that water, or maybe adding herbs to that water and then just like rubbing it through your head and putting it onto your face. When you're doing your skincare regimen, just putting that love into your face, putting that prayer and that intention. When you're massaging your head while you're shampooing, it doesn't have to be an elaborate ritual, but just putting that consciousness into something that you are doing that's involving your head. If you're braiding your hair, putting the intention to connect with yourself and to be that support system, that love and that open and positive energy that you so rightfully deserve. Right now, it's about nourishing yourself and granting yourself access to become more you and peeling off that layer that is not, that you've just outgrown, So that's what I would say. And also setting the limits. If you notice like something, whatever it is, feels draining, it doesn't necessarily mean the person is bad, toxic, not for you, whatever the case is. It's more so about not judging that, just being like, my energy feels a little off when I'm here. I'm feeling like either tired or like this or like that, whatever, and just allowing yourself to be in your own space and setting those limits and those boundaries, because no one can do that besides you. It's like sometimes people are just going through things, and sometimes you might be that person to other people too. So it's not about a judgment. It's simply about going into the spaces that feel nourishing, and almost like your head is just kind of like opening up, and just listening to your body to be able to interpret that and tune into that in a good way. So yeah, thank you for listening, and I hope that finds whoever it's meant to in a good way. And yeah, listen to yourself, listen to your body. You know, you can do it. Hold yourself accountable, but don't beat yourself up. I know it's a lot easier said than done, but we're here on the journey, and we can do it.
That was wild good. Like that was impressive.
Thank you.
That hit. That really hits.
All I do is just allow the space, you know. That's them, you know. Then on me, I have to give myself credit, but you know, I don't like to take it all because I'm just.
I'll be here today for petting zoo.
And the last thing that I'd like to do on this episode. So for those who are familiar with chakras, this is the sacral chakra bowl. It's the second chakra above the root. This is all about transformation. It's all about we hold addictions in this space. We hold what we deserve is located in this chakra. And also it's our reproductive organs. So it's all about creation, and it's all about destruction and whatever is meant to come out of this space. So, and be released in a good way. So I'm going to play it twice. The first time is going to be for all of us who want to tune into that. If you want to let go of anything, call in anything from within yourself, you know, something you want to create, something you want to destroy, dismantle, something you want to support. I would strongly suggest, you know, something you want to support in your life, in your being, you know. So taking that time to just find a comfortable seat and closing your eyes and allowing yourself to begin to relax. Taking a deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. And really thinking about what it is that you want to call in to support yourself at this time, and allowing the vibrations to help you to do so. And giving yourself whatever time you need to listen to your body's response. whatever it's telling you. Just taking inventory of any sensations that you may be having. And I'm going to play the bowl one more time. This one's for a very special friend of mine who's doing something pretty incredible right now. And this one's for Luna. May you arrive safely in the best way. We're excited to have you here. Thank you so much for taking the time to tune in with me and tune in with us here and tune in with yourself and your body in a good way. Just to ground ourselves in this space. If it feels good for you, saying your name 3 times to just get yourself back into your feet, whether in your head or out loud. And taking that forward with you into your day. Thank you so much, and tune in with us next week. Thank you so much for being here.
Awesome.
And for, taking the time to come and pull up onto the podcast and be you. And
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
You're so welcome.
I feel great. I feel warm. I feel ready to go.
Okay, I'll see y'all next week.